set perfectly, just the way I wanted it. It was dark. It was exciting. I went over, I don't even remember whether I walked around it or not. But we fire up, taxi out, and when we do that in mass, 2 squadrons, we clog all the runways. They're full of airplanes getting ready to take off at the intersection. So we're rolling down the runway. I'm number 5 at our 5 and 6 airplane taking off. I lift the tail up, and my coolant blew. The coolant came up over the windshield, and well, man, you know. And I looked down, and here the thing's pegged over 100 degrees. And holy smokes! I'm still rolling down the runway. I looked down, and my darned radiator door switch was in automatic. And what had happened was cold, so it had closed up when I was taxiing and overheated the airplane. It hadn't opened enough to cool it. I always flew it in manual. I leave it wide open manual. And then when I got in the air, then I'd go to automatic. Well, here I am now, going down the runway with all this fuel, maximum weight. What else can I do but take off? So I took off. I immediately got it under control. Opened the radiator door, got it cooled down, and then I thinking, now what the heck am I going to do? Am I going to abort? You know, the common sense would say go back and land. I looked back at the runway, and it's clogged with airplanes, and I got these 2 full drop tanks. So I said, well, I got to wait till the runway is cleared. So I did that. The engine cooled down, and then the coolant kind of rolled off the windshield where I could see it a little better. It was dark. It was 2:30 in the morning. We had an overcast, and you know, we're trying to get 16 airplanes, 32 airplanes together in a formation at night. And there's other airplanes circling around out there too. There was lights all over the place. Well, I finally got in position. Everybody got airborne. I looked at my coolant fine. And by the way, my old crows never aborted. Never once did I turn back for any reason whatsoever. Mechanical, weather, you know, you name it. 480 hours of flying, 116 missions with no aborts. Well, at this point, you know, I didn't want to break that. I didn't want to break that record for my crew chief. So I kind of rolled the dice and said, I'm going. I didn't want to miss a historic thing like the invasion of Europe. So here we go. 2 squadrons. We charge out on a heading. We got the flights together. I knew what I was going to do. You know, you got a flight of 4 ahead of you. And I said, that guy's the group commander. You know, everybody's supposed to be where he is. So I got my flight of 4. I pulled up right in his 6 o'clock. So I could see him good. He had his lights on. The flight had the lights on. And there was a guy by the name of O'Brien that had the 3rd flight. And he made a decision. He says, I think Bud Anderson can go down and get back. He says, I'm going to follow him. So he come up underneath me with his flight of 4. And we had 4 more. And then there was a whole other squadron. So we circle around, take a heading out, fly for time distance. And the colonel says, okay, we're in the area. Lights out. Let's patrol. Lights out. So I get in there a little closer so I can see the blue flames. And pretty soon his wingman's gone. Pretty soon his element leader's gone. He and his wingman are flying. I'm flying. I look around quickly, and pretty soon my guys are gone. Sunrise comes. Here's the colonel, his wingman, Bud Anderson, and O.B. O'Brien, a flight of 4. I don't know where everybody else was. Some guys think they flew to Spain and back. east-west coast. I said, oh my God, turned around and went back for 3 hours. It was kind of a disaster. We didn't get over the beaches because we looked like Messerschmitts. And so we were about 100 miles back, and so we got shot at night, and boy, flak at night really looks bad. It looks close in the daytime, but at night it looks like it's in the cockpit. So I knew the colonel. We were actually told to stay away from the beaches, and Normandy kind of comes around like that, and on our way home, I saw he was turning, came to the bingo time, and he was flying. He was heading over so we could see the beaches. One way there was layered clouds, it was still dark, and we went through the north edge of the beach invasion area. And sure enough, we had a clearing, and the clouds were open, and I could look down. We could look down through and see that beach, and we could see the little boats with the wakes behind them. And man, it was a spectacular sight. And there was smoke on the, this was later in the morning. They were already on the beaches. It was a pretty historic event, a day. By the way, we were talking about the range of the Mustang. An average mission was about 4.5 hours. On this day, I flew the longest mission I've flown. When I landed, I logged 6 hours and 55 minutes, and I still had a good hour's worth of fuel left. The Mustang is really good on the fuel. Blown up trains? Is that why you carry these bombs? You know, this is a fighter plane.
Right to set me up for this.
Oh. Got
time for one more, Bud.
one more good story.
Tell the one about your crew chief. We always like that.
Okay. It's a story about my crew chief, or let's say the crew chiefs of the order, the crew chiefs, the ground support, the kind of support we got from our squadron mates, the guys that didn't fly combat, but you know, they were there and they wanted to do their part. A lot of them were a little bit older than we were. You know, Otto Heino was my crew chief, my first crew chief, and he got promoted in the middle of the war and became a flight chief and had 6 airplanes to watch after. And he handpicked Mel Schuneman to be the Oshkosh crew chief, the D model. So you see 2 different names on these airplanes. But Otto was always there when I took off and was always there when I landed. By the way, he had his 95th birthday last year, and we're talking about veterans now, and I'm back to talking about veterans. He became a world famous potter. I mean, international potter. Well known, and I mean, making treasures, expensive treasures. Instead of maintaining a Rolls Royce, he owned a Rolls Royce. And you know what? His studio was just kind of a flat roof California thing out in the country. He didn't even have a garage. He had a lean-to. And here's this Rolls Royce parked in there with a canvas thrown over the hood. But he started with my P-39, and he was meticulous, you know, perfectionist. He just loved that damn airplane. And he came to me one time and he said, what can I do to this airplane to make it better for you? Well, these are the old P-39s, they were grubby. And, you know, you had you had an armor plate right in front of you, and then you had a little thin piece of glass, a gun sight. It was right up close to the windshield. So that was always dust would gather in there because you couldn't get your fingers in there and clean it out. And I said, well, you know, this thing is so, I can't see through it. Is there some way to get that thing clean? You know, I figured you'd have to take it out, put it back, and then you'd have to recalibrate it, and all this kind of stuff would be a pain. I came back the next morning, it was crystal clear. I said, how do you do that? He said, oh, I found a feather. And I went in there with a feather and cleaned it all out. But that's how he would do things. He was Finnish, and he found a Finnish buddy in the Air Corps Supply, and he went to him and he says, now you got two kinds of spark plugs. You got reconditioned plugs and you got brand new plugs. Now you saved the new plugs for me and the old Crow for Bud Anderson. And by the way, he changed those plugs every flight. Kind of incredible. Mel Schuneman, the other crew chief, was the only enlisted man that got killed in action over there from our fighter group. And what happened?